Well, it's raining. I want to do a show and share on vultures. Don't turn the video off, please. Vultures are critically important to our ecosystem. Extremely important. To our gardens, to our landscapes, to our planet, to us. So come join me and let's talk about vultures a little bit. Hey, it's Elise. I'm glad you stopped by. I was sitting out in the garden the other day and I noticed the vultures circling around up in the air. And in a little while they were gone. So I walked down to the back of the property and sure enough they had landed and they were kind of grouped around a carcass on the ground. I didn't want to get too close. I didn't want to disturb them. But I could see it was a young raccoon. I went back the next day. Everything was gone but a couple of tufts of hair. No carcass, no skeleton, nothing, no smell. I don't know what took the carcass. Because normally vultures will just eat the meat. But I was glad they did. I felt sorry for the raccoon, but nature's cleaning crew swooped in and cleaned them up. And I think we've all seen vultures circling in the air, and we know that they're hunting carrion. Carrion is dead animals. Or we've seen them on the side of the road, next to roadkill. And when the cars would go by, they'd fly away, and when the cars weren't there, they'd land back down and continue eating. So, when I saw those the other day, I really got into research mode. I wanted to get past the folklore, the myths, the untruths that we were told as kids about vultures. And they are extremely interesting and again, extremely critical. Loads of research now. What I'm sharing with you is mostly from Audubon, Nat Geo, legitimate websites. The photos I'm sharing is from Pixie Bay and Dreams Time and some Creative Commons. Pixie Bay and Dream Times are free sources. I am not affiliated with either one, but I do use them in some of my work because they have fantastic photos. So this is Pixie Bay, and this is just a collage of all different photos. This is Dreams Time, and I've got this one pulled up because we're going to talk about it in just a moment. All right, basic information on a vulture. First, vultures are not buzzards. I was brought up calling them buzzards, but there is a distinct bird called a buzzard in Europe. Completely different from a vulture. It is a hawk type of a bird, and it is a bird of prey, but nothing connected to a vulture. Historians believe that when the Europeans first came over to settle the New World, they saw these dark, big birds soaring up in the circular pattern in the air. And it reminded them of their buzzards at home who had the same flight pattern. And they started calling them buzzards. The name stuck. But a buzzard is not a vulture is not a buzzard. And I'm trying really, really hard to get out of the habit of calling them buzzards. So if I slip, excuse me. What we're going to be talking about today is vultures, and specifically the New World vultures. All right, there's 23 species of vulture. There's 7 in the New World and 16 in the Old World. And they're both completely different groups. New World vultures, they're found in North America, South America, Central America, parts of Canada, which is North America. All New World vultures have bald heads. They like a voice box, so they basically hiss and grunt and make guttural sounds, you know. They lay their eggs in rocky surfaces or tree cavities. They have weak feet. They primarily locate their food by smell. So if you're looking through photos and you see something with a bald head, chances are it's going to be a New World vulture. Not 100% because there are still some Old World vultures that have bald heads. Okay, Old World vulture traits. They're found in Africa, Asia, and Europe. They all aren't bald. Some have hair, some don't. They do have a voice box so they can make a little more noise. They do build nests, and they lay their eggs in their nests. They have very strong feet with large talons that help them to grasp and tear carcasses apart. And they primarily locate their food by sight. Now that's the basic difference. Again, what I'm going to be talking about from now on is New World of vultures since I'm in North America. They're not buzzards. But look at all of the different varieties. Now, vultures have a bad reputation. And they really don't deserve it. They aren't the prettiest birds out there, but they are so important. And some of them are gorgeous. Some of them are magnificent. And they'll be different colors, different color feathers, different color eye markings. Really neat. Okay. Now, some sites list them as a scavenger and other sites say they are a bird of prey. The definition of a bird of prey is a distinct flying pattern, the hook beats, the sharp claws or talons, and catching live prey. Some of those definitions do apply to most vultures. There are a few vultures, the Old World vultures, that have sharp talons. But most vultures do not run down live prey. Of course, there's always going to be an exception, and if they're really hungry, they're going to eat anything they can get a hold of. They are large social birds. They live on every continent except Antarctica and Australia. And I know we talked about vulture circling. And see, I was told as a child coming up, well, when vultures circle, all they're doing is just waiting for the prey to die. And that's a misnomer. What they're actually doing, compared to the latest research, is they're drifting on the air thermals to ride the currents and save energy. They're not waiting for prey to die. They're such huge birds, and since they only eat carrion, they need to save their energy. Also, their circling may attract other vultures to join in the meal. In some areas where there's other large predators that the vultures might have to watch out for, there could be protection in numbers. Sizes. The largest vulture is the Andean condor. That's right, those beautiful, huge birds that everybody likes and wants to try to save are vultures. The California condor and the Andean condor. The Andean condor can have a span of up to 11 or 12 feet. That is huge. The smallest vulture is the lesser yellow-headed vulture, and he can get about 5 to 6 feet wingspan. California condor is a little bit smaller than the Andean condor, 15 to 20 pounds. An Andean condor is 22 to 33 pounds. And let me show you an Andean condor. Now, I'm on a Creative Commons licenses page on Google Images, and loads of gorgeous photos. Again, did you know that the Andean and the California condors were vultures? The Andean condor is the largest vulture on Earth. It is the largest bird of prey, period, point blank. And it is one of the largest flying birds in existence. And this is the Andean condor. This is the California condor. And this is from the Smithsonian. But you can find other photos of the condor, California condor, all through the internet. So, in our area, I'm in the southeast of the United States, the turkey vulture is the most widespread New World vulture. It has a range from Canada all the way down to the southern tip of South America. So let's talk about that particular bird. And I had this really great photo. Let me see if I can find it. Nope. But this is a turkey vulture. Let's see if I can open it up a little bit more. This is from Pixie Bay. Turkey vultures are recognized by their red head on adults, and they're called turkey vultures because they do look a little bit like the red-headed wild turkeys that we can see out in the forest. They are the most widespread bird in the New World. Now, black vultures are the most aggressive. This is a black vulture. Another black vulture. This is from Audubon. And this is from Dreams Time. The black vulture can't find prey quite as easy as the turkey vulture, and so it is not unusual for the black vulture to follow behind the turkey vulture. In our area, the turkey vulture and the black vulture are the two predominant vultures. Now, over the last couple of decades, the black vultures are becoming more aggressive, and they're increasing in number, and they have even been seen attacking newborn calves and lambs. So they're growing in number and in their aggressiveness. Really neat birds, though, all of them. This is just a gorgeous shot. I was trying to enlarge it. Okay. Turkey vultures. They have the red head like the wild turkeys. Actually, turkey vultures are more related to a stork than they are to most birds of prey. The scientific name in Latin means cleansing breeze. They have bald heads, just like all New World vultures, so the carrion does not stick to the tissue of their head. Also, scientists now believe that the bald heads help them with heat issues. Turkey vultures are the only scavenger birds that cannot kill their prey. When you look really close at them, they have feet that look more like chicken feet instead of a hawk or an eagle. And their feet are useless. They're weak. Their legs are weak. They depend upon powerful beaks. They have an extraordinary sense of smell. They can smell carrion over a mile away, which is very unique in the bird worldwide. Turkey vultures have the largest olfactory system of all birds, and other vultures will follow them to the carrion. Now, per Nat Geo for kids, turkey vultures have such a good smell. They have actually helped natural gas company detect gas leaks because the gas smells something like a dead animal. So they would just follow the vultures. I didn't know that. Look at all the different vultures. Now, according to some websites, the turkey vulture is not endangered, but over 50% of all the rest of the varieties are endangered. Turkey vultures and all vultures prefer fresh meat, a fresh kill. And they won't eat extremely rotted carcasses. They can smell carrion that's 12 to 24 hours old. Now, there are some vultures with claws, but most do not. Most have weak legs. Their toes can be curled under. And have you ever watched a turkey vulture walking across the path or something? They kind of jaunt from side to side to side to side. Vultures can fly, or turkey vultures can travel up to 200 miles a day. That is a pretty big range. And the turkey vulture, on average, is 2.5 feet tall and has a 6-foot wide wingspan, and they weigh about 3 pounds. They're a long-lived vulture. They've been known to live up to 24 years. And again, they're all bald. Distinct families from the old world. They'll migrate. Vultures migrate. New World vultures migrate in the wintertime to warmer areas. They don't like it really, really cold. What was really interesting, all across the world where people have vultures, they have vulture festivals to celebrate the vultures. Kind of interesting. The vulture that is considered the prettiest is this king vulture. Isn't he gorgeous? All different colors, all different sizes. They all have one thing in common, the New World vultures. They are all bald-headed, and they all eat carrion. There were some down here I saw earlier that had actually blue rings all around its eyes. It was really neat. In our area and in many places in North America, you cannot go out and just shoot a vulture. You have to have special permits. Normally, they will not attack a live animal, but they may finish off one that is wounded or dying. And again, there's always exceptions. And if they get hungry enough and brave enough, they might attack something small. But since most do not have claws strong enough to rip meat, they have to depend upon their beaks. Or they have to depend upon larger predators to go around and tear the carcass up first. In our area, we don't have a large predator. We don't have wolves or coyotes or bears or the big cats like in Europe and Asia and Africa. So they're basically left on their own. And the New World vultures, they mate for life. They lay 2 eggs per year. New World vultures do not build nests. They use rocks and limbs and stumps to lay their eggs, and they are considered very good parents. Now, per the Chesapeake Bay Vulture Program, the New World vulture does not have a voice box. They just make guttural sounds or they hiss. They can smell carrion up to 8 miles away, and they can see it up to a mile away. Historically, vultures have been used in religious rituals. The Egyptians worshipped a vulture as a god. They were sacred to the Inca people. The Andean condor is part of the Inca's trilogy of sacred animals. Now, in our day and time, if you call someone a buzzard or a vulture, that's an insult, which really we need to apologize to these great birds. Now, some really sad things that have taken lots of the vultures away, just absolutely decimated the vulture cultures, is poisons. Now, vultures are immune to diseases that the carrion carries because of their stomach acids. But they are not immune to poisons and to some medications. And in some places, livestock was given medicine, and when the livestock died, the vultures ate it, and it killed over 90% of the country's vulture population. So what happened next? Well, if you don't have vultures to clean up the carrion for you and to stop the spread of disease, what happens? Look at that. That's a king vulture. Dogs started eating the dead animals. They got rabies, and there was an epidemic of rabies and other diseases that humans could catch. That's how important vultures are. Also, there's places in the world where they still have problems with poaching, and the poachers would poison the vultures deliberately because they didn't want the vultures giving away their location when they were out killing other animals. Another big problem, and one of the things that have affected the condors too, is they're eating prey that has fragmented lead bullets, and then they get lead poisoning. It kills the adult and it affects the eggs. So if you get a chance, go through, spend a little time researching, spend a little time looking at all these great creatures. They're just fantastic. This is Dreams Time. They have a really good selection of free photos. If you go, and again, I'm not affiliated with any of these sites. I just like their free photos. If you go up to where it says free photos, look at that, red eyes. All right, a little bit more about vultures. They locate from sense, from smell and sight, and zone in on their carrion. Again, they'll start circling around, taking advantage of the thermals, and then they'll land. Several birds will circle the area, and that attracts other birds. They will gorge themselves, and it's not uncommon to see the vultures as kind of sitting in a daze-like state after they have finished gorging, if the carrion is large enough for them to do that. After eating, vultures will urinate or defecate on their legs. I know to us that sounds really gross and disgusting, but there's a reason. They do that to get rid of any pathogens that might be on their legs that they picked up while they were feeding. They are immune to diseases because of the high stomach acid. That same carrion could kill your pet. If your dog got free, or you let the dog run free and it came up on the carrion and they ate the carrion, the dog could get rabies if the carrion had rabies. Cats could eat it. Other animals can eat it. Animals are not always specialized. They'll take advantage of whatever food they can find, especially when they're really hungry. But vultures are not immune to poison. They are not immune to guns. They are not immune to lead. If you see some turkey vultures sunbathing in the morning, they're just trying to raise their body temperatures after the cool night. If you see early morning clusters in the spring or fall, they are probably preparing to migrate. If you see them in the evening, especially sitting on branches, they're probably getting ready to roost. All right, now, here's a couple of myths that I came up with. Well, you can't get anywhere near a vulture because he will vomit on you. Well, the vultures, according to all the latest research, it's not deliberately vomiting on you. They vomit because they get scared. They vomit because they get stressed. They vomit to empty the stomachs out, especially if they've just got through eating, so that they can fly away faster. Now, if you get close enough to them, you might get caught in the spray. But they don't deliberately throw up on you, urinate on you, or defecate on you. They will not deliberately attack a human, but like all wild animals, all wild creatures, if you corner them, they're going to defend themselves. They have a powerful beak, and some have powerful claws. So don't go and corner them. So some of the myths, you can just forget. They aren't buzzards. They aren't going to attack humans. They aren't going to throw up on you or urinate on you, unless you just happen to be too close to them when they are stressed out. Now, why are they so critical to us? Like I've touched about on the other part of the text, is they keep the planet clean. They stop diseases from spreading. They stop animals like dogs and cats and raccoons and any other animal that might eat dead carcasses from catching all these diseases that they are not immune to and spreading them back to the human population. I think that's pretty important, don't you? Look at this one. That blue marking. Isn't that pretty? So yes, they aren't very pretty, and they have some what we consider disgusting habits, but in nature, they're just perfect. And like I said, there are some really, really bad problems that have happened on the planet when vultures are decimated. Without them, other animals eat the carrion, they get sick and infected, and that can be spread. Huge rabies breakouts have occurred. They clean up the flesh off of dead animals before it gets to the really bad, rotting, putrefying state and starts spreading diseases. We cannot do without vultures. It's that simple. And I know folks who live on ranches and farms and homesteads maybe get a chance to be a little closer to the vultures. But even for them, if they're out there cleaning up their fields, that's a great thing, I think. For us, a backyard grower, hey, if they want to go and clean up some dead carcasses, that is fine with me. So, forget all the myths you were told as a child about the horrible, disgusting vulture. They have been revered throughout history. They are critically important to the ecosystem, and I can't stress that enough. And I was really surprised when I found out that the condors are actually vultures. These magnificent birds that groups are fighting so hard to keep going are vultures. Nice. I could sit here for quite a while just looking at the photos, but I won't. So that's lots of information in just a little bit of time. This would make a fantastic research project if you need a school research project. Probably not many people are going to do a research project on vultures. Remember, they are not buzzards. What we have in North America is a New World type of bird, and there is a separate Old World vulture. So if you live in the Old World, your birds are going to be different than what the birds are in North America. Very interesting. I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit about vultures. Maybe next time you see a vulture, you can appreciate it a little bit more. And don't freak out if you see them circling over your property. They're going to help you out. You might want to thank them. If you have a dog or a cat animal that runs free, they might be saving that animal's life by eating carrion that could have diseases that could kill the cat, the dog, your other animals. Till we speak again, have a fantastic day.